Hello, my name is Hassan Sorrells, and this is the Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast, Shorts. There's no co-host on these Shorts episodes. These are now around 6 to 8 minute long observations, ideas, thoughts, or my rants about the literature, philosophy, psychology, and yes, even the theology of leadership. Because listening to me talk about leadership for now around 6 to 8 minutes is still better than reading and trying to understand yet another business book. Especially that business book that guaranteed to make you an MBA in only 7 hours. Scanning and hunting. Listening at 2x speed. Skimming and doom scrolling. Claiming literacy, but possessing very little genuine comprehension of information. I've said it before, and it bears repeating even now. Leaders are deep readers. And reading, in all of its depth and complexity, exposes individuals to some hard, uncomfortable, and even unavoidable truths. In the postmodern pursuit of democratization of everything through deconstruction of basic literacy skills, culturally, we in the United States have forgotten that acts of leadership require infinitely more of us to execute. More than what the average person, that highly lauded atomic portion of the demos, is typically invested in giving. More than the average leaders in a position of authority in the hierarchy may be interested in giving to the cause. And then, of course, there is another idea that also floats underneath the loss of general comprehension of hard information in our cultural attempt to substitute speed for understanding. And that is the idea that individually we have lost the ability to engage with the uncomfortable realization that society might actually be fine, but that we as individuals might be invariably and unalterably screwed up. So, in order to avoid that hard idea, in order to continue scanning and hunting, listening at 2x speed, and skimming and doom scrolling, we make the demand, the petulant demand, quite frankly, that leadership mold itself to us, to meet our individual whims, to provide for our individual devices and vices, to meet and to exceed our differing abilities. In order, of course, to have a more democratic, a more deconstructed, and thus, for the individual at least, a more perfect union of one. But leaders, genuine thinking adult leaders, know that the devil lurks not only in the details, but he also lurks in the hard and uncomfortable realizations that the world resists, that deconstruction brings destruction, and that all the desire in the world for speed to solution may not lead to actually solving the real problem. It just leads to more chaos, confusion, frustration, and despair, and all with little comprehension of what the hell just actually happened. And who wants to lead through more of that in these times of ours? And well, that's it for me. Thank you for listening and subscribing to the Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast. If you're listening to this on any of the major podcast players, like iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, please go ahead and leave us a 5-star review and write a little bit in there. A couple of sentences is good enough. That actually helps us game those algorithms that I was just maybe addressing. And, of course, it helps us grow the show. Tell all your family, tell all your friends, and tell the leaders in your life that you know that need to be listening to this show that this show exists. By the way, if you want to get started on the leadership path yourself, or you know some people who need to go on the leadership path, HSCT Publishing, the home company of Leadership Toolbox and Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast, can help you and your team do that. So check out our training webinars, coaching services, and more at leadershiptoolbox.us. We are remote, we're live, we're in person, we're on video, and we've got leadership development solutions for your civic group, nonprofit staff, public sector staff, or even your private sector leaders. And of course, you're going to want to check out our video-based subscription service at leadingkeys.com. That's leadingkeys.com for leadership development on demand. You don't like videos, you don't like training, but you really like the podcast? Well, I would also recommend reading a book. Matter of fact, I'd recommend reading my most recent book, 12 Rules for Leaders, The Foundation of Intentional Leadership. You can get that in paperback, hardcover, or as an ebook on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Ingram Spark, and any other place that you order books online. Finally, of course, we're on YouTube just like everybody else is. We'd love to have you help us grow the YouTube channel, so like and subscribe to the video version of this podcast on the HSCT Publishing channel on YouTube. Just search for HSCT Publishing, or you can search for Leadership Toolbox and hit the subscribe button. Subscribing helps us grow the show, as it does with the audio, just is the same with the video. All right, that's it for me.